Hey y'all, so today I'm going to be doing my September wrap-up and October TBR. And unfortunately, I don't have too much in the way of a wrap-up because I only completed one novel and 2 trade comics in the month of September, mostly because I didn't have as much time to read as I really wanted to have. So the one novel that I did complete in September was The Knife of Never Letting Go by Patrick Ness, which is the first book in the Chaos Walking trilogy. So the Chaos Walking trilogy is a sci-fi dystopian series about this boy named Todd who lives on this new planet in a town called Prentice Town, where there are only men and all the men can hear each other's thoughts. At the beginning of this book, Todd finds out some things about the town and the world that he really shouldn't know, and he's therefore forced to flee from some of the really important, powerful people in the town. I'll probably do a full trilogy review once I do finish the trilogy. However, I'm not completely sure how soon that will be, but I did really enjoy this first book. Patrick Ness's writing style in this book is incredibly unique. He kind of writes colloquially like the people in the book actually speak. The formatting here is also really cool because whenever you hear another character's noise, which is their thoughts that are going on in their head, it has a completely different text, and so it's really cool to see the dynamic between the normal text and the noise. Overall, I thought that the characters and the world were really interesting and unique, but I did find that the plot varied between being also interesting and unique and being somewhat predictable. Overall, I gave The Knife Never Letting Go 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I don't know if I decided between 8 or 8.5 stars out of 10, but it's somewhere in that range as well. And then the 2 trade comics that I finished during September were Saga Volumes 1 and 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. And I can definitely see why this is pretty much the most loved comic series on BookTube, because I really enjoyed both of these volumes. For me, I think that the best aspect of the series is the world. It's super interesting and complex, and I think it's really cool to see all of the different species of individuals who show up in the series. I also really like the characters in the series. I think that there are a lot of really interesting and diverse characters, and that is a major plus for me. Now, I have really enjoyed the plot of this series so far, but I do feel like it is just the tip of the iceberg of everything that's going to happen. I don't know how many volumes there are going to be in the series, but for some reason I feel like these first 2 are still mostly set up, even though a bunch of stuff happened. So I'm really hoping that there are going to be significantly more than are currently out. In the end, I gave each of these 4 stars out of 5 on Goodreads. I haven't decided on an official rating out of 10 so far, but it's definitely going to be somewhere between 8.5 and 9. So given that those were the only things that I read in September, that means that I did not complete my TBR jar challenge or my book stack challenge. So that means that I will not be able to buy any books in October, which is a bit of a bummer, but I have already pre-ordered all of the new books that I'm planning on getting, and there aren't any other books that are really pressing that I need to have, so it's not terrible, but I am kind of disappointed that I didn't finish these 2 books because I really wanted to read them. So the way that I'm going to handle this so I don't feel like a complete and total failure at my challenges is that I'm going to do my reread challenge for my TBR jar challenge at some point in the next 3 months, sometime before the end of the year, just whenever I feel like picking up Ready Player One. And as far as my TBR stack challenge, I'm going to complete The Queen of the Tearling, which I'm currently still reading because I have no time to read. And I will add another book from the TBR stack to my TBR for October. So now moving into my October TBR. For October, I am definitely hoping to do a lot of creepy reads, mostly in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the month, but for the first 1 or 2 weeks of the month, I'm going to be trying to catch up on some stuff that I meant to read a little bit sooner. But before I get into those books that I've already chosen, I need to do both my TBR jar challenge and my book stack challenge. I got the idea for this TBR jar challenge from Kat from Katie-tastic, and I will leave a link down in the description to the video where she announced it. Essentially, there are challenges in here, and I pull a challenge every month and have to complete that challenge within that month. So let's see what my challenge is for October. The challenge that I got for October is you're a music major, read a musical book. For a while I was actually dreading this challenge because when I wrote it I was thinking mostly of academic music books, but I actually got a book recently that fits this perfectly and that I'm really excited to get to. And that is The Chimes by Anna Smale. I got this book about a week ago and it is a sci-fi dystopian set in London where people don't communicate through written or spoken word, but instead communicate through music. And that has me super intrigued, especially since it was longlisted for the Man Booker. So yeah, super excited to finally get to this one. So my second TBR challenge is my book stack challenge, where I have a stack of 5 books, and each month I choose a book from the stack to read and then replace it so that each month I have 5 books to choose from. And the book that I'm choosing for this one is a no-brainer given the fact that I'm reading some like mysterious, creepy reads for October, and that is More Than This by Patrick Ness. I've really been wanting to get to this one over the past few weeks, so this was a really easy choice. Okay, so now moving on to the other books that I hope to read in October, starting with The Queen of the Tearling by Erica Johansson. This one is a given since I am currently reading it and really enjoying it, so I do hope to finish it in the next few days. Another book that I want to get to in the next couple days is Saga Volume 3 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I'm really enjoying this comic series so far, so I definitely want to continue on in the very, very near future. So now moving into the creepy reads that I want to get to in October, starting with the one that I am most excited about, and that is Witches Volume 1 by Scott Snyder. This just seems like it's going to be super creepy, and after flipping through and looking at the artwork, I'm super excited because the artwork is gorgeous and I just cannot wait to get into this. Another creepy trade comic that I really hope to get to this month is Preludes Nocturnes, which is volume 1 in the Sandman comic series by Neil Gaiman. Jeff from Ermagerd Books loves this comic series, and I have never been disappointed by a book that he really loved, so I am really eagerly anticipating jumping into this. And finally, the last book that I absolutely have to get to in October is Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray, which is the second book in the Diviners series. I read the Diviners for my creepy October reads last year, and I absolutely loved it. I flew through it in like 3 days, so I'm hoping the same thing happens with this because it's giant. So yeah, I cannot wait to continue the series because I loved the Diviners, so hopefully I love Lair of Dreams. So those are the books that I definitely want to get to in October, but there are also a couple more books that I might end up reading depending on certain circumstances. The first one of those is The Invasion of the Tearling by Erica Johansson, which is the sequel to The Queen of the Tearling. I'm including this one because there is obviously a possibility that once I finish Queen of the Tearling, I will want to jump immediately into the sequel, so I might end up reading this in October, but I'm not totally sure and I'm not putting it on my official TBR. The next book that I might possibly get to is A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray, which is the first book in the Gemma Doyle trilogy. If I do possibly end up getting through all of those books this month, I might end up being in the mood for another Libba Bray book, and this one is pretty mysterious and I've been thinking about reading it sometime soon, so this one is a possibility. And the last book that I might possibly read, but probably not, is The Girl in the Train by Paula Hawkins. This one just really fits in with the kind of mysterious vibe of a lot of the books that I'll be reading, so I kind of want to get to it, but I don't think I will given the vast number of books that I've just named in this video. So these are the books that I hope to read in the month of October. This doesn't seem like a huge TBR, but I say that every month and then it ends up being that I don't finish all of them, but I really, really do hope that I finish at least most of these. Sorry if this is a completely different angle, but I finished the video, I turned everything off, I moved everything back to where it belonged, and I realized that I forgot to add a 5th book to my book stack, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Okay, so the book that is being added to the stack is Trouble is a Friend of Mine by Stephanie Tromley. So now that I've added that to the stack, these are the 5 books that I will have to choose from for my November TBR. So that is it for my September wrap-up and October TBR. Let me know down in the comments if you have read any of the books that I talked about today and what you thought of them. As always, I will leave links down in the description to my blog, Twitter, and Goodreads. Please add me as a friend on Goodreads. I would love to be friends with all of you. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!